What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Y'all know what day it is? Do you guys watching this right now or whenever you watch it know what the day is? Come on now. Tell me what day it is.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo! Woo-woo! It's hump day, y'all. It's hump day. We made it past Tuesday. I tell you what, yesterday did actually fly by. And it's all because of y'all. Y'all were here yesterday with me. We did the things, and here we are now. It's good to see everybody, man. We got a good show this morning. We have a special guest waiting backstage. Bring him on just a minute. So let me say hey to everybody. Tammy, good morning, sis. Outdoors with James, good to have you, brother. Rockadoodle Farm, what's going on? Yep, hump day. You already on it. Pug Out Adventures, what's up, sis? Coffee to the rescue. That's right. Let's get reloaded here, guys. We got a lot of ground to cover. Lenny on the Mississippi. Good morning. Devout Lion in the house. I knew you were gonna be here, brother. As soon as you saw January 6th, guys. Devout Lion has been quoted as saying January 6th is his new July the 4th, Independence Day. At first, I thought it was funny, like a joke. But the more that I see the way the left is pushing their agenda, trying to make January 6th like the worst thing that's happened since 9/11, I think Devout's right. And it does feel like there's a holiday coming this Thursday. And we're going to have a whole special show about it on Thursday. Today, I just want to touch on a certain aspect. But anyway, we'll get into it. Let me bring our guest on this morning for the morning reload. This guy needs no introduction. He is proof that you can take the man out of the backwoods, but you can't take the backwoods out of the man.
Whoop, whoop, hump day.
What's going on, brother? Good morning.
How's it going, man? How's it going?
Pretty good. Hey, man, your sound's down a little bit.
Mine is?
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Might have been on my end. We've been having internet issues.
I've got it's on automatic, so maybe when I kind of got loud, it
Oh, I got you.
Readjust.
Got that high speed stuff. I hear you. Man. So what you think, man, about January 6th?
I don't think it's what they make it out to be. I'll be honest with you. If I would have been there, I wouldn't have entered the building because it was not the right timing. There were too many things that needed to be in play before, something like that happened, and it was just the wrong timing, man. It was a setup from the word go.
I think so.
And if people, if people would have understood this, it would have never happened. Just my opinion,
I agree, man. I mean, to me, it was just a protest that went bad, But when you compare it to what happened the 6 months prior to that, all summer of 2020, we watched our cities burn to the ground, people being murdered, and they're just defending their shops. Watching people firebomb a federal courthouse, and then to have Garland say, well, it happened at night. So it's not really a bad thing. But the only person on January 6th who lost her life was Ashley Babbitt, man. I think we should honor January 6th just to honor her. Yes, they trespassed. Yes, they vandalized the thing. But I think there were literally federal agents pushing them into doing this, man. But we're gonna get more into it, guys, on Thursday. I'm just gonna dedicate that whole thing to January 6th. Maybe Devout. Maybe we could shame him to just coming on here Thursday morning. I've been begging this dude for 2 months to come on the morning reload with me.
Devout, don't be scared.
Oh man, come on, Devout. Southern Fried Prepper, I appreciate you. Happy January 6th, right? We need to embrace it, man, and show everybody it's not something to be afraid of. January 6th, oh gosh, just the worst insurrection since the Civil War. Man, shut up. They didn't even have weapons. How can you have an insurrection without weapons?
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, we're going to get into it. I do have some clips to show that I think are interesting in retrospect of this thing. And then Backwoods and I want to relate an insurrection, because it's not an insurrection if you're fighting against a tyrannical government. It's using your Second Amendment rights. Me and Backwoods were talking about this backstage. And so I think we need to look at the Second Amendment, right? And we need to start talking about it as though it's not a partisan issue, because it's not, man. It's one of our God-given rights to bear arms so that we can defend ourselves against any enemy, you know, not just tyrannical governments, anyone who would seek to do us harm, or those that we love. We have the right to defend ourselves and them. So we're going to look at three different aspects of Second Amendment. And I've always said this, I believe in the Second Amendment, but also believe that it's a responsibility. And there's a lot of people who have the right to bear arms, but they're not really good at it. I'll just put it that way. And we're going to show clips. Before we get into that, let me show you guys this. Okay. Let me show you guys the clip I have. And you guys tell me, does this look like insurrection to you? Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't January 6th. That was the day after the inauguration of President Trump. And those were the people on the left tearing up Washington, D.C. Huh. That was an insurrection.
No, that looked like a mostly peaceful protest.
Yeah, right. See, freaking Antifa. I didn't even know they did that back then. Back then, I wasn't paying attention to what was going on in the news because I didn't care. I was just keeping my head down and prepping. I didn't care who was president. I didn't think it mattered. I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes now. But yeah, they did that after he was inaugurated. That was not a peaceful protest, right?
Right.
They arrested 200 people that day. I wonder how many of them went to jail for insurrection.
I would say they probably, the most they got was maybe a destruction of property.
Yeah, if that. And then Kamala, she probably got them off when she got in there. No heels up. Larry, you had the right to bear arms and the right to arm bears.
Nice.
And it's crazy because this is what led up to that. This was how their protest started. Listen to what they're saying all the way back in January 2017.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump.
no Trump, no KKK. That crap before he became president. This was way Phil 2018 or whatever, with the very fine people speech, and he likes white supremacists. But they were pushing this narrative a long time ago, man. It's BS.
Yeah, a lot of that too was what I think a lot of the reason why they got a pass, per se, to do that. I mean, I know a lot of people got arrested and stuff, but they, like I said, not, real charges, or at least not that we really hear. I think that was all necessary to lead up to this insurrection thing. You know what I mean? It was necessary.
Right.
To push their agenda.
I know, man. I just always hate, because people's always said, "Oh, you got to be peaceful, you got to protest," But when tyranny's here and a tyrannical government is overreaching, I mean, the time for peaceful protest kind of passes away. I mean, like we always ask this. I know, Milkman. I know you and I've had conversations about this too. When do we know it's time to stand up? Because you stand up too soon, you get thrown in prison, like the protesters from January 6th. You're called insurrectionists and all this stuff. So, I mean, and the coordination, how spread out we are in our country. It's a big deal. And I think it starts at each individual personal level with just being a responsible Second Amendment practicer, owning your firearms responsibly, training with them, knowing how to use them, all these good things. And so we're going to start there this morning. We're going to look at 3 different cases, and we're just going to get into it. Bushido, what's up, brother? Good morning.
Jack.
Man, Bushido be hitting those one-liners, man. He has me rolling sometimes. I'll be watching somebody stream and just lurking, and I'll be reading the chat, and Bug Out to have me rolling the whole time, man.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. Yep. Good man, Pepper. Good to see you this morning, sis, by the way. Pepper 84 lives down on the border, man, in Texas. Like literally on the other side of the Rio Grande. They have a plantation down there, man. And last time I talked to you, sis, you were telling me like on a daily basis, people down there are finding illegals on your property. You're finding kids being abandoned. I know it was about 6 months ago, she shared a video with me, and I think it was 5 kids that had just been abandoned on their property. So that's still happening, guys. It's still, the border is still open. There's still people coming across every day, and people like Pepper 84 and her family and other families along the Rio Grande and all along the southern border. They're still fighting that battle. Anyway.
I think there's something really important too about the fact that, Texas is talking about building their own wall, and I think that's something, Texas and Arizona, could easily probably get their citizens behind on attacks, as long as they see, that the wall's being built, I just, to me, I think that's an excellent idea, man. I would be for paying some extra taxes if I lived there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's messed up because it's the federal government's job to secure borders, Yep. But I was and my state was on the border, and the federal government wasn't. They were just opening borders. I would do the same thing. I was like, if you ain't gonna do it, we're gonna do it. We got to protect ourselves. But that brings us back around to the Second Amendment. Before I get into that, I have a clip of Joe Biden I gotta show y'all. It's only 30 seconds long. Y'all know me. I like to laugh and have fun in the mornings before we go out to the world. But this dude don't even know what year it is, man.
There's a lot of reason to be hopeful in 2020. But for God's sake, please take advantage of what's available. Please. So thank you. Now I'm going to get this briefing started. Thank you very much. There's a lot of reason to be hopeful in 2020.
Nothing to see here. Please disperse.
2020. Dude thinks it's 2 years ago, man. That poor guy, he has no clue what's going on. Art living in the house. What's up, man? Tiger, Diane, Roots. Man, everybody's here this morning. Mad Shad. What's going on, brother? Yeah, man. Anyway, guys, all right, let me show you the first video. It's a security cam footage of 3 people breaking into someone's home. It looks like there's like a storage area on the ground floor or whatever, and that's where they're breaking into. It looks like preppers. You guys will see what I mean. It looks like they broke into a prepper's hoard or something. But there's no sound on the video, so I'm going to try to unmute our mics so me and Backwoods can talk while the video is playing. But I want you to watch what happens, okay? Because the homeowner is a gun owner, and they used their Second Amendment rights. Let's see where we at. All right, so they're coming in. Can you hear me, Backwoods?
Yes, sir.
All right, I hear you. Awesome. See, this guy's polite. He's a polite criminal. He has to go shut the door. He wasn't raised in a barn. Yeah. See the horde, man? I think they're preppers. At least on the low level. See, so you got 2 guys and a girl. They're all armed. They're all just waving guns around.
They're turning, I noticed they're turning lights on a lot too,
Yeah, they're like on a basement level, because I think right there where he's going, it goes upstairs, because that's where the homeowner comes from.
Well, I was going to say that one comes from back there, yeah. Dang, well, she's brave.
She empties the clip too, man. She's scared. But you could tell, look at her, the way she's using the weapon. She's not trained in it. She just owns a gun. She could have shot a family member.
Well, what I did notice too is that you notice the gun's empty.
Yeah,
See,
she emptied the
clip back. She never reloaded. Not saying that they would have came back, but that's another reason right there why you don't just have a weapon without a backup magazine.
Exactly. I want to know, why did the husband send the wife down there to deal with this? Like, hey, honey, there's somebody breaking in. Grab the pistol and go. Right. Dude, where were you? You know what I mean?
He had to pee.
Yeah, I bet he did pee when he heard them gunshots going off. Man, how many? I meant to count how many times she fired. Because you're right, she emptied the clip. The slide was back.
Yeah, probably. It's probably at least a 12 round. The size of the weapon. Look, it would. I couldn't really tell, on some, but it depending on if it was a single or double stack mag, so.
Yeah. Art said TP is holy. Yeah, man. I think they look like new preppers. They were just hoarding stuff. Like TP was number 1, like in the middle. It was like a shrine. So we have TP.
Yeah.
But this is what I meant. Like that lady, those homeowners have every right to bear that arm. But you could tell she hadn't been trained on it. The way she was holding it, the way she was just. But she was scared. She was scared, right? And but someone who doesn't use their firearms responsibly, even though nothing happened bad. Well, it happened bad. She killed one of the criminals. I looked up some facts. There wasn't a lot of facts about what happened to her, but they said there was no like charges or anything against her. It was just self-defense, because he did have a gun and he pointed it at her. It was clear in the footage. Like, she came out, he saw her, raised his gun, and she immediately unloaded on him. So she was completely justified in what she did. I just believe if you're going to own firearms, and every American has a right to do so, you should do it responsibly. You should know how to use it. because like where the way I live, not the way I live, but where I live in my home, if someone were to break in it, there's certain ways I know if I fire a firearm and miss, it's going to go outside the house and not hit anyone, any of my kids or anyone in the house. It's not going to go through walls and hurt anyone. Like you have to practice that, man. Like you have to literally practice your line of sight, your firing lanes. If someone breaks into your home, you have to know what's behind them.
Well, and I think that too, everybody needs to understand that, you know, a lot of states have a flee law. So basically, no matter what the criminal is doing, once the criminal turns his back and starts fleeing, if you shoot him in the back, you can be charged for murder.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. La,
Yeah.
that was in Georgia where that took place. So, Prepping man, it's good morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, all right. So I want to look at a different one. Now this was recent too. This was a cop playing in right outside Chicago, I think. Of course, right, Chicago. But these two police officers go to a hotel room to knock on the door. Excuse me. And one of the cops is actually killed. One of the people in there is a guy and his girlfriend. I think the guy had a pistol. Well, he didn't even know how to use it, from what I understood. His girlfriend grabbed it, pulled a slide for him so he could shoot the police officer, and then the girl was able to get the police officer's gun, I think, and finish killing her. And they critically wounded the other officer. But we'll get into it. Let me show the clip.
Tonight, Kankakee County state's attorneys are calling for the death penalty for two defendants involved with the murder and attempted murder of two Bradley police officers.
New details about that incident revealed today paint a terrifying picture.
Anthony Ponce is live tonight with more.
During a bond hearing today for 26-year-old Zandria Harris, the Kankakee County State's Attorney said body cam footage from 49-year-old deceased officer Marlene Ritmanick recorded her pleading with 25-year-old Darius Sullivan not to shoot her. Sergeant Ritmanick was pleading with them to just leave. You don't have to do this. Please just go. Please don't. Please don't. She was desperately pleading for her life, State's Attorney Jim Rowe told the court. Rowe went on to say Harris played a huge role in Ritmanick's death, having blocked her and her partner, 27-year-old Tyler Bailey, from entering their hotel room and disarming Ritmanick after she'd been shot one time. Sullivan fired the shots which killed her and critically wounded Bailey, but Rowe said Harris helped Sullivan cock his gun and helped disarm Ritmanick. I will be submitting an official request to the U.S. Attorney General to review the first-degree murder case pending against Darius Sullivan and Zandria Harris for federal murder charges and pursue a federal sentence of death against both defendants, Rowe told the court before the judge denied bond.
Crazy case, man. The police officer begged for her life and still killed her. You know.
Thank you,
So
brother.
what you think?
Man, so this is, basically shows where this defund the police, this whole thing of how they allow these criminals to get away with so much stuff. And, like they're talking about, what state is that where they're talking about not even bond? I mean, they don't even work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, that kind of thing right there lets you know that this is not working. It empowers these criminals, and this whole thing of this rhetoric that the media keeps spewing out about, well, defund the police are bad, the what was it, ACB or whatever, the all cops are ACAB or what, ACAB, yeah. And that just goes to show, exactly what this leads to. I mean, you got this woman pleading for her life, man, and it takes it would take a certain kind of person in their mental capacity to execute someone, because that's what that was, an execution.
Cold-blooded. Yep, you're right. And like, I don't even know why there's a talk about it being a federal murder case, because I thought when a law enforcement officer is murdered, I think it's automatically a federal case. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and and also Grumpy Acres there brings up a really good point. Of this is another reason why we have constantly said, don't just go buy a weapon. I know ammo is expensive, ammo is hard to get, but it is important. Nobody says you got to go out there and shoot 50 rounds, at a time, but just shooting 5 rounds, just practicing, get on the ground, and roll over and shoot at the target, practice, it matters.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point to be made, because even though we believe in the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms, the young man who was in there, who the pistol belonged to, the criminal, we made. I mean, well, he had to bear arms, right? Do we believe that? Even though I believe he deserves the death penalty, I think he does. Him and the girl, they murdered this. He saw they didn't have to. It's on the footage. The footage hasn't been released yet. I went to police activity. It hasn't been released. This just happened. So anyway, once they release it, we'll probably see her, begging for her life, and they still killed her. So yeah, they deserve to die. But at the same time, did they deserve to bear arms? It's a hard question, man. We don't want to say yes, but they did. I mean, but
well, the
dark side of 2A.
Yeah,
the criminals deserve. Yeah.
Well, and that's the whole thing. The other officer also is in critical condition.
Right.
And he may pass too. You just don't know.
Yeah. But and two, like I would like to know, like, the actions that led to the officers being, because you had 2 trained police officers and these 2 young people. The guy, like I said, didn't even know how to load his weapon. He didn't know how to rack the slide. So they weren't trained at all. And they were still able to get the better of these 2 police officers. I think it goes back to what you were saying with the defund the police movement. This is what happens when you defund police. You get police officers who need training. I mean, you talk Chicago, they call it Chirac for a reason, man. I try to keep up with what's going on over there, because I really dislike Lori Lightfoot, Beetlejuice, and I want her to go down. But people are suffering because of her. I mean, almost 1,000 murders in 2021. Murders, man, not people just dying. They were in her city on her watch, and she still blames the police. She still wants to defund the police. And that's just what happened when you defund the police, man. You get police officers who aren't ready to be in Chirac.
Well, see, another point to it is that we need to think about is the fact of how they are demonizing the police. Like, I thought about this whenever I was watching the video when you sent it to me. I was sitting there thinking, who in the world would want to be a police officer today? They just, the way they criminalize them, and I'm wondering if maybe that played a role in it, of hesitation, of the police officers, kind of like, I hate to bring this to point, but it's because the media does, 2 black people, and they were 2 white people, 2 white police officers, you know what I'm saying? And
exactly,
maybe there was a mental hesitation by the police officers, of hey, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm wonder if they, like, you're right. I thought about that. Are they going to spin this? Like, is the media going to mention this at all? Because if they release the body cam footage, is it going to show this white cop going in there just begging for her life, and then, like you said, these two black folks killing them, because it goes against the narrative that the racist white cops are the
Right.
bad guys who are just looking for black folks to kill. And someone did ask a question: did they knock on the door, or is this a no knock? I have to assume they did knock. It was in a hotel room, but we don't know yet. I want to know. That's what I mean. I want to know the actions that led up to this, because that'll tell a lot. Because we don't know everything. We really don't. They might have just kicked in the door, you know. But that doesn't excuse the lady on her knees begging for her life, and they still murdered her. That's at that point, that's murder. They saw they were police officers. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what comes out about it. But like I said, like, these are just different instances of being a American citizen who's practicing 2A. And I saw it in there. Everyone was like, Livin just said it. Yes, they had the right to bear arms. You know, it's the dark side of it. It's the dark side of 2A, if we believe in it. You know, even if you're a criminal, and this is my personal belief, if you go to jail for 20 years and you serve your time and they release you, you should get your rights back. I don't believe that someone who has already, if you release them in society and you say, no, they can't have this right yet, they shouldn't be out then. After you do your time, you do your time, you know. But if they go back and they do a crime, they go back in prison.
Right.
That's what I believe. But anyway. All right, so the third clip we're going to show is a lady. I got this from Collier Noir. I just clipped it. He dropped the video yesterday, and it was right in line with what we're discussing. And it shows a lady. She's an actress. You know, she's far left, of course, but she was scared because of what's going on right now, and so she wanted to own a firearm. And this is what I'm saying. It should not be a partisan issue, man. It really shouldn't. But let's get into it, and then Colion kind of does his thing too in between the clips. Let me see where it's at.
Recently talked in Hot Topics about how more black women were becoming gun owners, and you just became one of them, Sherry, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I bought a 9mm.
Why?
Gun because, well, I don't know why you laughing, but
Laughing because The View was filmed in New York, one of the most anti-gun cities in the world, filled with progressives who will scream female empowerment all day long, except when that female buys a gun to empower her ability to protect herself. But I digress.
You know, during the quarantine, I felt really helpless, Joy. When we're talking about depression, I felt like Jeffrey would look at me like, you know, he was so scared. I get these little alerts in my neighborhood app about it's going to be a march through the neighborhood. And I started feeling like, how am I going to protect my son if something happens?
Too many people have this misconception that they can rely on the government to keep them safe. Yet, during the height of the pandemic, when all of the major cities were dealing with mass riots, people quickly realized that when shit truly hits the fan, you're on your own. Because when you only have seconds to protect yourself, help is always minutes away.
And I got some of my girlfriends who are actresses, and we all went to a gun shop in California. There's only 2 black-owned gun shops. I think it was like a Redstone Firearms, Geneva and Jonathan. And we went, and I felt very empowered when I bought this gun. I took lessons. I took the test. I go to the range with my girlfriends like every other week. And it just makes me feel like at least if something happens, I can protect my child.
Exactly. You know, she gets it. Politics aside, Second Amendment has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with each individual's life and the life of those they love, man. But yeah, like her purchasing that gun, and then I think they went on, like in that episode of The View, to, of course, they went against it, like he brought out there in New York City, and I hate Joy Behar. Like every time she opens her mouth, hey, yeah, why'd you buy a gun? Shut up.
Well, I wanted to bring a point to that video is later on in the video, or, you know, after that, when that lady was speaking, this other lady on there, she said she was a criminal attorney, you know, for all these years. And she started quoting, not facts, but media propaganda. And she was saying that, you know, like, for instance, when you have a gun in your home, you're more likely to have an inner house, you know, your own family members being shot.
Yeah.
And so Colion Noir actually brings a research that she's talking about, and this researcher Don Cates. So he's a far leftist, and he don't really like guns and the Second Amendment. And he wouldn't release his findings for a long time. He just was saying, yeah, see, I've got proof, but he wouldn't release them. Well, he finally had to, because they called him to the carpet. And it comes to find out that the study, well, it was a Kellerman study. So the victim, home gun homicide victims were killed using guns not kept in the victim's home. So in other words, the victims were not murdered by their own guns. They were killed by intruders who brought their own guns to the victim's household. So once again, that shows how the media spins things,
right?
Because someone was killed and they were a gun owner, they say, well, you're a, the home gun homicide victim,
Mm-hmm.
And they do the same thing with schools too. If you dig deep into these school shootings, as they say, you'll come to find out that anything within 1,000 feet of a school, because they use that same thing when you were selling drugs. If you were within 1,000 feet of a school, they charged you with basically endangering children.
Right.
So they use the same principle with these school shootings. So if you actually go and look into the school shootings, you'll find that a lot of these school shootings were, maybe a guy was next to the parking lot and school wasn't even in session, or they were within 1,000 feet and discharged a firearm, some gun shooting going on, and they label that as a school shooting. I dug deep into that stuff, and it's pretty bad the way they manipulate things.
Numbers, absolutely, man. But I mean, earlier in the clip, she, talking about when she bought the firearm, she made sure everybody knew. She's like, I got training, I took class, I go to the range and practice with it. That is responsible gun ownership, and
absolutely.
And I guarantee you, she teaches her son, at least the 3 rules of gun safety, maybe all 5 of them, like the groundwork. And if you ingrain that in kids, it becomes a part of them when they see a firearm or they handle a fire. Like it was like that with my kids. I teach them since they were really little, 3, 4, 5 years old, and now they practice very good trigger control. Never point that gun is never pointed toward anyone or anything that they don't want to destroy. They always treat the guns safe, and it's just a part of them. It's part of their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always the Second Amendment and gun ownership, it has to be a culture that's ingrained in the way you live and handle firearms. You treat them with respect. People who are not safe with firearms, you look on them with disdain and on their ignorance. You ever been on a hunting trip with a dummy and he keeps flagging you with a shotgun? It pisses me off, man. And I went on. We used to be a part of not anymore. I don't believe in hunt clubs anymore. But and there was this idiot on there, big dumb idiot, kept pointing his shotgun, just waving around as he was talking and stuff. And he flagged me one too many times, and I snatched it out of his hand, and I pointed it at him. And I said, "How's this feel, man?" "Sorry, what'd I do?" "Stop pointing your gun at people, idiot." It was all safe and it was loaded, ready to fire. And I don't play that, man.
Man, even if I see that it is unloaded, I know, man, I don't point a gun at me, man. I'll get upset real quick, man. That's that flagging stuff, man. It's, I've taught my children too. I have 3 children, and one of them is a grown adult and actually has 2 kids. So I have 2 grandchildren, and all my children know how to handle a weapon. They know how to to load it, to unload it. They know all the safety you know, and all the things to do and not to flag, and, you know, the finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire the weapon. You know, they even know my kids now, because I have 2 school age kids, you know, high school age kids. They know how to disarm too. You know, when you come around the corner, they know how to strip the gun. We worked on that. You know, we practiced it to how to strip and throw an elbow strike, you know, kick strike. You know, we have worked on that here in the house. You know,
that's what I'm talking about, brother. And that's what it takes too, training. I mean, if someone does break in, what are you going to do? What's your plan? You know, that's part of prepping. Knowing what you're going to do. Being prepared is it's more than stacking stuff. It's a lifestyle, and it's training. I've seen so many people in the chat just right now saying you got to train, and everybody's right. You do. You have to have a plan for what's going to happen. What if they come through this door? What if they kick in this door? What if they come through this window? You know, what do you do? And what if you're sitting around in your pajamas? Where's your firearm? How are you going to get to it? What is your reaction time? All these different things. And like, man, I sleep with my pistol ready to go. And I mean, not with me in the bed, but it's right near me if I need it. So,
I'll show you something real quick. So when I put, so I built both of my kids that are still here. I built them ARs, and they're 300 blackouts.
Nice.
For hunting, you know, but for other reasons as well. So I actually even taught both my kids how to sight a weapon in. So I let them actually sight the weapon in, and this is my daughter. So she starts out up here, as you can see, and I taught her how to bring it down. These
she
are
walked
her
it in,
shots.
didn't she? Nice,
yeah,
man. I know you're proud watching that too, man. That's awesome.
And that's my son's.
Nice. Walked it in.
You know, walk it right down, and look at that, man.
They zeroed it in. They zeroed it in themselves.
Yep.
That's cool, man.
I
That's what I'm
was there
about.
helping them, you know, and telling them, you know, kind of showing them, explaining them. But yeah, they clicked it and everything, and understood, asked questions, and yeah, you can see, man, they can hit, but you don't want them shooting at you,
man. That's cool. That's what I'm talking about, brother. Well, I tell you what, man, it's about time to wrap up. Yep. I appreciate you coming on with me this morning and having this discussion. And,
yes, sir.
Guys, you probably are. I know all y'all probably are already subscribed to Backwoods and Prepping, his channel. Mods, would you guys please drop his link just in case someone watched this later and you've never seen this gentleman's channel. He has good content. He's a good dude. You can ask him anything, man, and he'll research it down to the bone, man, if he don't know anything about it. He has a heart to help people. He really does, and connect the community. I appreciate him. I consider him a friend.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on this morning. You're welcome here anytime, man.
I appreciate you inviting me on, man. I when I seen that text yesterday, I was like, right, man, yes.
Yeah.
It was an honor, you know.
Backwoods is a ride or die fella, man. I just want y'all to know that. He's with
ride or die.
And Ark Livin says he smells funny though.
Yeah. I try, man, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, y'all have a blessed. You know what? Before we leave, though, let me show another. I said yesterday I'm done talking about COVID, and I am. But I've been hearing this about they've been testing deer for COVID. Why?
Yeah.
Nobody knows, because they've got too many millions of our tax dollars left over, and they're like, hey, let's just test deer randomly and see if they got COVID. You know, and this is why I always say there will never be zero COVID, because there's an animal suppository. This disease can go in animals and sit and marinate and mutate and pass. You can't vaccinate the whole world of all the living creatures. So probably gonna get a strike for saying that.
Well, yeah.
All right, so check this out, man. This is.
Scientists swabbed the nostrils of white-tailed deer in Ohio and found about a third had active or recent infections. Life finds a way.
Real quick, I did actually bring that up one time in Dangerous Freedoms chat.
Did you?
I was on the panel. Yeah, it because it's been going on for a while, and I seen that article. This has been going on for a while, and a bunch of people was like, "Oh man, this is BS. Deer don't have the coof," and I was like, "That's not what I'm trying to say." And my thought process on this whole ordeal is that they are trying to make it to where you have to have the to get a hunting license.
Oh man.
Yes.
I never considered that aspect of it. I thought they were just being dumb, but yeah, there's an agenda behind everything they do. You're right, man.
Yes.
God, I could totally see them doing that. But shoot, I hunt on property. So on property asking about jabs, you're gonna get your butt kicked.
Right.
But right. All right, guys, gotta go, man. I gotta go slop some hogs. But I appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out this morning. Thank you, brother. If you need me, man, you know how to get in touch with me.
Same here, brother.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a blessed day. There you go.